Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be watching one of the biggest movies of the year, Oppenheimer. So it's a Christopher Nolan movie, which means it's going to be really long, have a lot of complex things going on, and is really going to make you think about like our place in the world and who we are without actually giving any answers for an actual movie to feel somewhat satisfying overall. Not to knock Christopher Nolan, Memento and Prestige and Dark Knight are some of my favorite movies. Of course, this movie has a story based around the Manhattan Project and the creation of, the atomic bomb and the ending of World War II and the controversial launching of the bombs on Japan to end the war, which a lot of people have opinions on, including myself. Well, this movie is close to 3 hours, so let's just go ahead and get into it. This is Oppenheimer. Ooh, imagery.
The so-called derogatory information in your indictment of me cannot be fairly understood except in the context of my life and my work.
How long did he testify?
Honestly, I forget.
Holy shit, that's Robert Downey Jr.
When they bring up Oppenheimer, you answer honestly. No senator can deny you did your duty. It'll be uncomfortable.
I'm assuming this is all like the proceedings after launching the bombs, probably, maybe? I don't know. I remember hearing something about like the black and white scenes are in a specific time period, but I already forgot what they were meant to be. What is with this imagery? It's only the beginning of the movie, too.
It's Niels Bohr. Completely forgot.
All right, let's go. Oh, no, not you, Oppenheimer.
You finish coaching those plates.
You dick. He's the one that reminded you. You wouldn't... Right now he's thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna blow up everybody in the world with my invention. What did he do to the apple? Did he poison the apple? I was f***ing kidding. Holy shit. He actually is poisoning the apple. He got the idea from Snow White. Snow White came out probably around this time. Jesus. He actually put cyanide. I was f***ing kidding.
Niels, meet J. Robert Oppenheimer.
What's the J stand for?
Nothing, apparently.
You were at my lecture. You asked the only good question.
Oh, is his idol gonna...
You can lift the stone without being ready for the snake that's revealed.
Jeez.
Now it seems...
All it takes is one bite.
I'll send word.
Wormhole.
He just snatched it. What's he doing? Just all kinds of different work for like seeing these visions he has, I guess, to try and like put them all together in some way, I guess. I don't know. It has to mean something though. I'm not a scientist, so I don't really know all that stuff he's working out, but I am a history buff.
After the war, he was world-renowned, the great man of physics, and I was determined to get him to run the institute.
Okay.
Dr. Oppenheimer. An honor.
His demeanor has totally changed, so what did Oppenheimer do? I thought it was just like the fact that what happened to the bomb, but apparently there was something else he did? I don't know a whole lot about Oppenheimer, the individual, or a lot about the Manhattan Project in general, except what it created and some of their feelings about it, but nothing much about the science and the lives of the people all that much.
Never thought of studying physics formally, Mr. Strauss.
I had offers, but I chose to sell shoes.
Louis Strauss was once a lowly shoe salesman.
No, just a shoe salesman.
Oh, ooh, lowly.
Albert. Just then I was entirely consumed with what he must have said to Einstein to sour him on me.
But later?
Well, we all know what happened later.
I don't.
You seem to meet with a wide range of other countries' physicists.
Yes, that's right.
Any Russians?
Oh, Cold War. Yeah.
We're a couple of New York Jews. How do you know Dutch?
Well, I thought I'd better learn it when I got here this semester.
You learned enough Dutch in 6 weeks to give a lecture on quantum mechanics.
I wanted to challenge myself.
Oh, wow. He just learned an entire language in 6 weeks just to... Okay. He's a smart guy.
This is German you have to seek out.
Heisenberg.
Right.
Wait, Heisenberg?
You're goddamn right.
Breaking Bad.
Did you ever encounter Heisenberg again?
Not in person, no, but you might say our paths crossed.
Well, I'm going to be interested to know how your paths crossed. Because, yeah...
We're building a machine to accelerate electrons.
Magnificent.
Would you like to help?
Build it? Oh, no. Oh, no.
I wish I was that smart, though. That I could just be like, I just want to work on something. I want to work on inventing something. I'm an engineer. I'll just do. But I'm not that smart or that good with my hands. Also, I'm too lazy to invent the best thing in the world. But I will one day. It's all in here, but I'm too lazy.
Take a seat.
Oh, nobody took his class?
Quantum mechanics says it's both. How can it be both?
It can't.
It can't. But it is. It's paradoxical, and yet it works.
The class is going to be full next time we see it, right? Yeah.
Cute.
Word spread on how good his class is. And quantum theory came to the world. Or came to America, at least.
Increasing gravity.
Increasing density.
And?
It's a vicious cycle until... What's the limit here?
I don't know.
Right? Bang?
How would these activities have come to the attention of the FBI?
Well, if I remember correctly, the FBI was taking license plates outside suspected communist gatherings, and his name popped up.
Damn commies. Wow, so you're telling me the FBI was spying and monitoring American citizens all the way back then? I thought they just turned corrupt.
FBI, open up!
They think that socialism is a bigger threat than fascism.
Not for long. Look at what the Nazis are doing to the Jews.
They're all evil. All politics suck.
Their gravity gets so concentrated it swallows everything. Everything, even light.
Yeah, black hole. Right? Right? Isn't that a black hole? Its gravity is so intense, even light. I don't know, but that's Hawking with black hole. Maybe he just set the... I don't know. I don't know a lot about scientists.
Robert here says he's not a communist.
Well, then he doesn't know enough about it.
Oh, I've read Das Kapital, all 3 volumes. Does that count? Ownership is theft.
Property.
Property?
Property, not ownership.
I'm sorry, I read it in the original German.
Ah, ouch. Get owned.
I like my wiggle room, too.
Oh, whoa. Suddenly, this became the greatest movie ever. See, I wish talking politics in real life works like that instead of, you know, not getting laid. Most of the time, you're not going to get laid when you talk about politics.
Read this.
Well, in this part, Vishnu reveals his multi-armed self.
No. Read the words.
This is some weird bedroom play. Really?
Destroyer of worlds.
Yes, now read me Sanskrit as I you. If your girl ever tells you to read Sanskrit raw, I don't know. I guess just do it.
I won't live my life afraid to make a mistake.
Then make sure to wear a condom.
Bombarded with neutrons.
It's a nuclear fission. They did it. They split the atom.
It's not possible.
God, it's been so long since my science classes, and I never took physics, so a lot of this is just gonna go woo! But hey, I'm learning. I like learning about history, and I'll read the IMDb trivia later that will summarize a lot of it, probably.
Extra neutrons boil off which could be used to split other uranium atoms.
Yep.
Chain reaction. You're thinking what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I'm just, what? What are we all thinking?
Oh, kid, come on.
Bomb.
Yeah,
Alvarez.
exactly.
A bomb.
Yep. Exactly what I knew. At first I thought like, oh, maybe he just doesn't get the clue that she's not that into him, but...
Just no more flowers.
She's calling him.
You're not coming?
She didn't come the first time either.
Hey, for a black hole, it's in!
Where's Heartland? Get Heartland. Get Heartland.
September 1st, 1939. The world's gonna remember this day.
Well, yeah.
You've been upstaged.
Yep. Wow, so it came out on the same day where World War II broke out?
Can you explain quantum mechanics to me? Seems baffling.
Yeah, me too, while you're at it.
This countertop, our bodies, it's mostly empty space. Groupings of tiny energy waves bound together. Forces of attraction strong enough to convince us that matter is solid. Stop my body passing through yours.
That's trippy. Physics is crazy.
Joe got himself killed first time he popped his head out of the trench. Ideology got Joe killed. For nothing. My husband offered both our futures to stop one fascist bullet from embedding itself in a mud bank. That's the definition of nothing.
Ooh. Ooh. Looking at war that way, that's rough. Goddamn, dude. It's been 30 minutes and you've already banged Florence Pugh and making out with Emily Blunt. Like, goddamn. I want to be a movie star.
He knocked her up. Fast work.
Can't keep a good man down.
I meant her. She knew what she wanted.
So they went on a New Mexico trip where, you know, he didn't rap again. And, you know, had to tell his side thing or his booty call, I guess. Whatever they are.
And I know what it means for the Nazis to have a bomb.
When I don't?
It's not your people they're herding into camps.
Yeah, but they didn't know about the concentration camps. They were rumors, I'm pretty sure, but it wasn't widely known until after the war. At least I think. Maybe Oppenheimer knew. And it wasn't just making a bomb out of that. It was Von Braun. He was making the rocket as well. That's what Hitler was really interested in. It were the V2 rockets, which of course were combined with the atomic program, and that made, you know, nuclear missiles.
He wrote to the FBI demanding they take action.
The FBI? Why not go to the AEC direct?
Why get caught holding the knife yourself?
That's called foreshadowing.
But how would Borden have access to Oppenheimer's security file?
Because somebody gave it to him.
Somebody in the FBI. Probably. I don't know. Some politician, probably.
I came in for plenty of harsh treatment. There was an AEC vote on the export of isotopes to Norway, and they drafted in Robert to make me look like a fool.
Honestly, the pacing of this movie is really weird. Like, it feels like we're still in the intro, which we probably still are, but it's bouncing around so much, like trying to establish all these characters. I'm just waiting for the movie to start, but maybe this will be how it is the whole way through.
Shouldn't you go to him?
I have been going to him all fucking day.
What's that called? Where the mother, postnatal depression or something? Maybe she's going through that, or she is probably just sick of dealing with the crying kid all day. Postpartum depression. I don't know.
I'm ashamed to ask.
Anything.
He just...
Take Peter.
What? So he's trying to give up his kid because he doesn't want to take care of it and his wife doesn't? Or he can't because he's busy and his wife is just overwhelmed? I just love the fact that, like, there's a baby crying, and instead of showing him, like, calming him down, we just see him driving to the nearest woman he knows, be like, here, please take the baby from me.
Dr. Oppenheimer. I'm Colonel Groves. This is Lieutenant Colonel Nichols.
Matt Damon. It's been a while since I saw a Matt Damon movie.
Why don't you have a Nobel Prize?
Why aren't you a general?
They're making me one for this.
Perhaps I'll have the same luck.
A Nobel Prize for making a bomb?
Alfred Nobel invented dynamite.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. Though he didn't say Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe they added the peace part later.
In a straight race, the Germans win. We've got one hope.
Which is?
Anti-Semitism.
Oh yeah, Berg.
Our one hope is that Hitler is so blinded by hate that he's denied Heisenberg proper resources, because it'll take vast resources.
Like, when he said Heisenberg, I was surprised, like, there's no way that Heisenberg is still in such a great position of power in Germany at this point.
Remind me, who were we at war with?
Somebody with your past doesn't want to be seen downplaying the importance of security from our communist allies.
Well, they are now, but don't forget they invaded Poland together, Germany and Russia, but then Russia invaded them, and now we're allies. Enemy of my enemy, really.
We'll need a school, stores, a church.
Wow.
If we don't let scientists bring their families, we'll never get the best. You want security, build a town, build it fast.
See, now we're getting into like the real meat of this, because I didn't know the specifics of the Manhattan Project. I didn't know they had to build a whole town to bring in families from scientists, that they would be there the entire time, which makes sense, given that the war broke out and everything, but geez.
So you're a fellow traveler. So what? This is a national emergency. I've got some skeletons. They put me in charge. They need us.
Until they don't.
Yeah, and when they don't need you, they'll put you on trial.
Is there any chance of getting Bohr out of Denmark?
Yeah, no dice. I checked with the British. Until we get Allied boots back onto the continent, there's just no way.
Well, June 6, 1944, you'll get him. Well, that's when you'll have boots on the ground, at least. Oh, he's wearing a military coat now.
You drop a bomb and it falls on the just and the unjust. I don't wish the culmination of 3 centuries of physics to be a weapon of mass destruction.
The weapon of mass destruction.
I don't know if we can be trusted with such a weapon. But I know the Nazis can't.
Yeah, somebody's gonna make it. Would you rather have it on your side or the enemy's?
Wait, what was the first?
Take off that ridiculous uniform. You're a scientist.
Yeah, I pointed that out too.
They need us for who we are. So be yourself. Only better.
Yeah, put on your iconic outfit with the hat. There it is. Yep, and the pipe.
Some days, God refuses to eat. Even in Princeton, he's convinced that the Nazis can poison his food.
Yeah, they're not fans of German scientists betraying them, but neither were the communists, or Stalin's version of communism anyway. You think you're safe, and then ice pick to the back of the head.
But this time, the chain reaction doesn't stop.
It would ignite the atmosphere.
Oh.
We might start a chain reaction that
Yes.
destroys the world.
Yeah, I remember that. Is that the possibility of the atmosphere getting lit on fire was very real to them.
And if the truth is catastrophic,
Then you stop, and you share your findings with the Nazis. So
Maybe they'll
neither
stop.
side destroys the world.
Yeah, so that they'll stop too, hopefully. Well, Hitler needed Lebensraum, so he didn't want the world destroyed totally. Honestly, I'm loving this movie. It's so interesting to see, because I'm already anticipating some of the things earlier, because the way that they're talking about this, like the guy who brought up the concerns, like he didn't want to go because he didn't want to create a weapon of mass destruction, like his viewpoint was so like beautiful to me in a weird way, even though it was a small fraction of what I assume we'll get later in the movie when, you know, there actually are weapons.
Apparently, the government's not sharing any research with the Russians. He mentioned that if anyone had anything they wanted to pass on, going around official channels, that he could help.
Oh, so this is the tricky viewpoint here, because the Russians are our allies right now, so you want to help them, but they won't be forever. Okay, so I'm thinking the black and white things are taking place in the late 50s or early 60s, because it's in the future than what the colored versions are.
Gadget will need a 33-pound sphere about this size, or using plutonium, the 10-pound sphere.
Instead of uranium or plutonium, we use hydrogen.
But hydrogen came after the atomic bomb. It goes atomic bomb, hydrogen bomb.
The Russians have a bomb. We're supposed to be years ahead of them, but
Barbed wire, guns, whoopee.
We're at war, Hans.
Meet the British contingent?
Dr. Oppenheimer. Klaus Fuchs.
How long have you been British?
Since Hitler told me I wasn't German.
Once a week. Top men only.
I'd like to bring my brother here.
No.
He kind of can't, because he's a known communist.
now the race is against the Soviets.
Not unless we start it.
Robert, they just fired the starting gun.
There's no proof there was a spy at Los Alamos.
Robert.
There it is. They literally have your thing.
You know what?
Generalissimo, I quit.
Aren't you more concerned about his discretion out there?
We'll have him killed.
He's joking.
No, just kidding.
He's not joking though. They pointed out the barbed wire and the guns. It kind of seemed like a camp for scientists, and you got him running in and screaming at them like this. Yeah, you probably feel like you're in a prison of science. It's so exciting when they get to fill 6 marbles into that bowl.
I've had a lot of secrets in my head for a long time. Doesn't matter who I associate with, I don't talk about those secrets.
Ooh.
You left.
I wish I was fancy enough to have sex and then sit in separate chairs completely naked after having sex.
Did you find out why she had to see you?
Is this how he feels? Like he feels exposed and naked here? Oh.
Spent the night together, didn't you?
Whoa. This is just what his wife is imagining.
Jean, you asked me to come. And I'm glad I did.
Well, at least you came. I don't know if she did.
I never saw her again.
Oh.
You sit there, day after day, letting them pick our lives to pieces. Why won't you fight?
Because if you fight, then they'll say you're radical and dangerous and, you know.
Pash made it clear he had no intention of leaving any witness left to prosecute. Now, the FBI talked him down, but that's the man you're dancing with. But in 1918, he went back to Russia to fight the Bolsheviks. This is a man who has killed communists with his own hands.
So he was a Menshevik? History.
You lied to General Groves, too?
No. I admitted to him that I'd lied to Pash.
Do you recall his conversation about
Jesus.
the Chevalier incident?
All of these, like, retellings of the story. Oh, this movie's a lot, man.
Who did?
General Groves. He transferred me to London.
Huh. Trying to protect Oppie?
Is it big enough
to end the war?
To end all war?
Heisenberg sought me out in Copenhagen. It was chilling. My old student working for the Nazis.
Oh, Heisenberg was working with the Nazis. I guess Hitler actually needed him.
The power you're about to reveal will forever outlive the Nazis. And the world is not prepared. We have to make the politicians understand this isn't a new weapon. It's a new world. The men who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And they'll respect that.
Ooh. That's heavy.
Your father called.
Yeah, she... Oh. Wait.
No, it was me.
You don't get to commit the sin, and then have us all feel sorry for you that it had consequences.
Ouch.
We just don't know what it might do to the female reproductive
Your
system.
reproductive system is more exposed than mine, presumably.
Oh, burned.
The world's changed. It's not fascism, but communism that now threatens our survival.
Still does. Or does it? Ooh.
I saw an amazing sight, like a meteor. A V2 rocket headed.
Yeah. V2. Von Braun.
Can't help but imagine what it will be for such an enemy rocket to carry an atomic warhead.
Whoa. Yeah. Seeing those ripples on the map, oh, that's crazy.
He was no longer a government employee, yet he appears to have had unlimited access to Dr. Oppenheimer's file. Might Mr. Nichols have given him access to the file, or someone else at the AEC?
I mean, you give a mad dog a bone to chew on, he's gonna chew on it, you know? But who gave him the bone?
Germany is about to surrender.
Germany, yes.
But the Japanese fight on.
Their defeat seems assured.
Oh, yeah, you're an idiot, lady. Their defeat seems assured. Skip to the time code to hear my thoughts about the Japanese are about to surrender.
I need a date.
September.
July.
August. Well, they'll be used in August.
In Chicago, we put together a petition.
I'm not getting into that.
Hey guys, editor version of me here. I don't know why I didn't say this in the reaction, but I definitely thought it and I'm thinking it now. How do you think history would view the Manhattan Project if we actually did drop it on Germany instead of Japan? Would it still be as controversial? Food for thought.
What are we estimating?
In a medium-sized city, 20 or 30,000 dead.
We intend to demonstrate it in the most unambiguous terms. Twice. Once to show the weapon's power, and a second to show that we can keep doing this until they surrender.
I've taken Kyoto off the list due to its cultural significance to the Japanese people. Also, my wife and I honeymooned there.
Oh, I was about to say, well, that's nice, but personal reasons.
The Japanese people will not surrender, under any circumstances, short of a successful and total invasion of the home islands.
Even then, that wouldn't be enough.
Now, we need these men, but as soon as it's practical, we should sever any such scientists from the program. Wouldn't you agree, Doctor?
Putting him on the spot is kind of a dick move, but Matt Damon wants this, no matter what.
But the Potsdam Peace Conference in July will be President Truman's last chance to have that conversation.
Yeah, because it'll be Stalin there, Truman there, and Churchill will be there. Yeah, to decide what would happen to post-war Europe, essentially. I think that's the meeting he's talking about.
We're firing on the 15th.
The 15th? That's
The 15th.
15th. It might be just the music, but I can feel like the slowly building tension of when it's actually complete. Because even though I am somebody who's like, the ends justify the means in regards to the atomic bomb, that's what I believe, it still doesn't take away the weight of it. And like, this movie is doing a great job of building up that.
Are those safe distances?
Based on your calculations.
Time to stand behind your science, Hans. Literally.
Oh, that's the line. I feel like there isn't enough like gloves and full body hazmat suits being worn for this, because there needs to be, because that's the core, isn't it? Maybe they just didn't have that kind of stuff back then. Jesus Christ, look how terrified and gentle they're being, because anything could set it off. Imagine how terrifying that is. That's more than looking down the barrel of a gun. That's like, it's like standing right next to an atomic bomb, you know?
I'll send a message. If it's gone our way, take in the sheets. If we fire these detonators and they don't trigger a reaction, 2 years worth of plutonium will be scattered across White Sands.
a month of my salary against $10. Says it does.
Oh, geez, yeah. I mean, you've been spending all that time building up, you know, the uranium and everything.
Pick it up at 0, not the rain, lightning circling.
Think it might be time to tell your men to get away from the steel tower with the atomic bomb?
Yeah. Steel tower, lightning storm. The lightning hits that tower. Maybe it'll ignite the bomb. Oh, that sucks.
Tell them all, 5:30.
5:30. 5:30. Oh, shit. Why am I, like, weirdly tense right now? It's so weird what this movie's doing to me. I was like, 5:30. It's such a huge moment, I guess, of history.
Are we saying there's a chance that when we push that button, we destroy the world?
Except it's the most remote possibility.
It's still a possibility.
20 minutes.
Ooh. Just think, like, there are so few people alive today that lived in a pre-atomic bomb world. You know? That's so crazy. Because we did enter a new world, an atomic world.
If the detonators don't charge, and the voltage drops below 1 volt, you hit that button, you abort. Understood?
No, but this is... I don't want that job. That'd be terrifying. Yeah, it's shaking. Oh, God. Imagine what was going through the heads of the real people right now. Like, yeah, you're changing the world, essentially, with the most devastating weapon, or one of them, because the hydrogen bomb's next. Because, oh.
90 seconds to detonation.
Oh, my God. I'm so tense.
These things are hard in your heart.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I wonder what their heart rate is right now, because it's got to be insane. Like, I'm tense just watching this, and my heart rate is over 100 right now.
One.
Wow, it's so quiet. So quiet. When's the aftershock gonna hit, though? Fire really is crazy, huh? And it's a real explosion, too. I remember they were saying that, like, Christopher Nolan, he wanted to do real, no CGI. It's not a real bomb, though. People were even saying, like, oh, is it a real atomic bomb? But no, it was just dynamite or something. But still, holy shit. Yeah, there it is. There's the aftershock. Jesus. Again. Yeah, you know, I can understand people's point of, like, not wanting to use it or test it or anything. Because, like, yeah, you don't want just anyone or any country to have that. Even your own. Trying to think of it with the mindset of the people at the time. Like, yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to have that, honestly. But it doesn't matter what we want. It's if they're needed or not. Which it's hard to even say if they're needed because it's just the whole thing.
Well, I don't know. He just said to tell you to bring in the sheets. Kitty?
And hey, it didn't light the atmosphere. You're not all dead. Yeah, you work on it for years, and now the military just takes it away.
Should I come with you to Washington?
What for?
Well, you'll keep me informed.
Of course, as best I can.
See, now the thing is, like, you've already given them the thing. You don't need all this clearance and all the traveling anymore. You've done your part.
Would the Japanese surrender if they knew what was coming?
Nope.
I don't know.
They didn't surrender even when it was dropped on them twice, or at least a portion of them didn't want to surrender. There was a coup to prevent the surrender after both atomic bombs were dropped on them. Yep.
Once it's used, nuclear war, perhaps all war, becomes unthinkable.
I mean, that is true. Conventional warfare, at least, became pretty extinct for at least those with nuclear power, for the most part. That's why there's a lot of proxy wars. Essentially, America and Russia and the UK and all the other countries with nuclear arms were like, we're going to pick a side on a other world conflict and, you know, give you weapons. You go fight, but we're not going to use ours. Because if we get involved, we're ends of the world. That's essentially the Cold War.
It is an atomic bomb. It is a harnessing of the basic powers of the universe.
All the military are super stoked, but the scientists know what this means. Oh, that's where the thudding comes from. Oh, things are getting trippy. Oh god, this is gonna be really weird, isn't it? He's in his own world now. Can't hear anything.
I just wish we had it in time to use against the Germans.
Wow, holy shit. Yeah. The weapon's been unleashed on the world. Could be used anywhere if it's in the wrong hands. Or any hands. Ooh. Like, goddamn, we can never know the weight of this. Because none of us will ever be responsible for the death of tens of thousands and creating a weapon that could destroy the world. That's crazy to think about. And you know what? Maybe they shouldn't have done it. Maybe they shouldn't have. But they did. Radiation sickness that would infect the people that got the bomb dropped on them. Maybe that wasn't a vision. Maybe those were real people, like, vomiting over the thought of what exactly they did. In my head, I interpreted like him seeing the people around like crying and sobbing and vomiting like that guy, because those are the ramifications of what the people are going to suffer through, you know? The victims.
What we did at Hiroshima was...
And Nagasaki.
Yeah, a lot of people forget about Nagasaki. They always say Hiroshima or Hiroshima.
I feel that I have blood on my hands.
Shit.
You think anyone in Hiroshima or Nagasaki gives a shit who built the bomb? They care who dropped it. I did.
How do I feel about that? Is Truman trying to take the guilt off him or trying to take all the credit?
Don't let that crybaby back in here.
And now we know.
Klaus Fuchs, the British scientist that you put onto the implosion team at Los Alamos.
Yeah.
Turns out he was spying for the Soviets the whole time.
Was that the guy who was like, oh, I was German until Hitler said I wasn't anymore?
Each capable of killing the other, but only at the risk of his own life.
Yeah, mad. Mutually assured destruction.
How could Borden get access to Oppenheimer's FBI file?
Yes.
Could it have been Nichols?
No, I can't imagine he'd do that.
Well, who did?
You want to put me back in my place? A lowly shoe salesman.
Now he's referring to himself as a lowly shoe salesman.
Urge them to continue my research on the super. I neither can nor will, Edward.
At first he was all about, or at least thinking about, the hydrogen going onto that. But now that he sees the, weight of the atomic bomb, he doesn't want to, I guess.
What was it you said about Borden? Why get caught holding the knife yourself?
Yeah.
I'm beginning to think Borden was holding the knife for you.
Maybe.
Wake up! It is Strauss. It's always been Strauss, and you know it. Why won't you fight him?
She's been asking him to fight for a long time.
You set him on Oppenheimer. You convinced him.
Borden didn't take any convincing.
So it was him. Little slighted. And yeah. He's there.
His Q clearance is up for renewal. You send your accusations to the FBI. Hoover sends them to the AEC. You're forced to act. You write up an indictment.
Strauss was just playing everything, pretty much.
This is just how the game is played.
Wow, yeah, this guy. This guy's like all about the puppet master, like making all these like little things here and there to like get Oppenheimer. Because what? He slighted him? He embarrassed him? Is that his main motivation?
I have to warn you. This won't be a fair fight.
We might be furnished with a copy.
The document is classified, Mr. Garrison.
Can we hear this recording?
You don't have the clearance, Mr. Garrison.
God damn.
This proceeding interested in entrapment or in truth?
Yeah, they're not even giving his lawyer anything to work with. Like, it's just dogpile on Oppenheimer. It's like, oh, you don't have the clearance. To the lawyer who's defending him. Like, they can't... It's all just it's a kangaroo, not court, you know?
So we'll proceed with William Borden instead. Mr. Borden, welcome.
This fucking guy. You were used, kid. You were used and manipulated to get exactly what Robert Downey Jr. wanted you to do.
How long has counsel been in possession of this letter?
I don't think I should be subject to cross-examination by you, Mr. Garrison.
Kangaroo. It's making me mad. Just like, why are you even there? Like, I would just get up and punch all these people, honestly. When it's so blatantly one-sided, it's just like, what's the point?
J. Robert Oppenheimer was a sufficiently hardened communist that he volunteered information to the Soviets.
Wow. Dude, just kill this guy. Seriously, slit his throat with the paper. Make it slow. God.
Dr. Hill, would you care to make a statement?
Oh, Remy Malek. Yeah, he's gonna be pissy about Oppenheimer knocking the thing out of his hand.
And who is known to be earnest, hardworking, and intelligent.
Shut the up, Remy Malek.
Most of the scientists in this country would prefer to see Mr. Strauss completely out of government. Because of the personal vindictiveness he demonstrated against Dr. Oppenheimer.
Forget what I said about shut up, Rami Malek. Keep it up. Keep it up. They told me that you would have held a grudge because he knocked the thing out of your hand. So that's why I didn't trust you, but go on.
Excuse me, gentlemen, if I become stirred, but I am.
Finally, people are standing up against him.
The Oppenheimer matter was initiated and carried through largely through the animus of Louis Strauss. Strauss never forgave him this public humiliation.
So it really was just all that? He got humiliated?
I want to see the vital interests of this country in hands which I understand better and therefore trust more.
There it was.
You shook his f***ing hand?
Yeah, come on.
Oh, I would have spit in his face.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, kitty. Also, I agree, because that was his thing. Teller, I guess Strauss offered him something, and that's why Teller flipped. Probably to bring on his hydrogen bomb.
Would you clear Dr. Oppenheimer today?
Ooh, we get back to this one.
I would not clear him today if I were on the commission. But I don't think I'd clear any of those guys. That's all.
No. F*** you. And your stupid face. Don't think I don't remember you from the Terminator reboot. You're John Connor. You suck. Screw you. Also, this movie took a turn. Like, they were spending like 2 hours building up the testing and like the bomb, and then now the rest is like this court proceeding and all this backstage and backstabbing and like deals and stuff. The movie just took a turn. Like, it feels like we're in a different movie.
This is Oppenheimer.
All right, get the out of her face first of all, dickhead. Come on, kitty.
Just it was all so very long ago, Mr. Robb, wasn't it?
Not really.
Long enough to have forgotten.
Could you return the card or rip it up?
The card whose existence I've forgotten?
Your Communist Party membership card.
Haven't the slightest idea.
She's gonna give it back to him.
I've believed this since I left the party 16 years ago.
But
17 years ago. My mistake. Sorry, 18.
Yes, give it to him. Give it to him, Kinney.
I think you mean through Communist Party channels, don't you?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't have to answer that yes or no. You can answer that any way you wish.
I know that, thank you. It's your question. It's not properly phrased.
Intellectual communist and you're plain old regular commie.
Well, I couldn't answer that one.
I couldn't either.
Yeah, she's winning, people. Go, kitty. This is what, no gentlemanly. That's right. She faked them out. She was acting all, I'm so sorry. Just so he would go in. Just so he would go in and try and be like, hey, lady, yeah. And then she just bit back at him. Fucking MVP kitty. Woo! Einstein's here.
Perhaps you should turn your back on her.
Damn it, I happen to love this country.
Then tell them to go to hell.
I don't know what Oppenheimer said to him that day, but Einstein wouldn't even meet my eye.
He'd do it all over. Why?
Because it made him the most important man who ever lived.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I never researched Oppenheimer.
220,000 dead at least.
Yes.
Any moral scruples about that?
Terrible ones.
But yet you testified in here that the bombing of Hiroshima was very successful.
Well, yeah, it was. The bomb went off, people died, and the war ended. That's successful. Doesn't mean you have to feel great about it, because you killed 200,000 people.
If we did it, they would have to do it. Our efforts would only fuel their efforts, just as it had with the atomic bomb.
Just as it had with the atomic bomb, exactly.
We have voted 2-1 to deny the renewal of your security clearance.
Don't take in the sheets.
Don't take in the sheets.
I'm denied. Yeah?
I'm afraid so, sir.
All right.
Young guy trying to make a name for himself didn't like what you did to Oppenheimer.
What's his name?
Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy.
Oh, he just thought like, oh, I'll kill him one day.
Is it possible they didn't talk about you at all? Is it possible they spoke about something more important?
Ouch. I mean, yeah, we have no idea what they talked about. It's just, I thought they were talking about like crazy things happening in the world, or like the potential of the bomb and everything, and that made Einstein feel so like, oh my God, you know? Well, I guess we're gonna find out. No, this is after they dropped the bomb, so it couldn't have been about building the bomb.
And one day, when they've punished you enough, they'll serve you salmon and potato salad. Give you a medal. Pat you on the back, tell you all is forgiven. It'll be for them.
Yeah, she still holds a grudge. Yeah, she would have spit in your face, you rat. God, Kitty MVP. Kitty's the best.
We thought we might start a chain reaction that would destroy the entire world.
What of it?
I believe we did.
So it was for the hydrogen bomb and the creation of nuclear missiles that can be launched. Yeah, the destruction of the world, essentially. Or we have the arsenal in the world to destroy the world 100 times over, if not more. Jeez. Woo! God damn. That was an experience. I really like that movie. And you know what I like about it is that I don't know, I found myself questioning my own opinions about things a lot more, you know? Especially with the bombs. I don't know. It's just a lot. Okay, so that was Oppenheimer, and it's really a thought-provoking movie into the point where everybody knows about the droppings of the bombs. Everybody knows the toll it took. The numbers. It's just hard to quantify that, I guess. Okay, let me just go ahead and get this out of the gate first. My beliefs when the whole did we need to drop the bomb on Japan? My beliefs were always yes, we did. For multiple reasons. People saying Japan was already defeated. I've even seen a few takes on Twitter when this movie came out, like Japan was about to surrender anyway. They weren't. After both bombs were dropped, they still refused to surrender unless their conditions were met. Basically, from my understanding, forgive me, is pretty much Japan didn't want their government dismantled like it did with Germany and Italy. Of course, their leaders were dead. You know, Hitler and Mussolini were dead, of course, and their regimes completely collapsed, of course. Japan refused to let that happen to itself. So one of their conditions is that the emperor would still stay in power. They couldn't do all this things. Essentially, their regime wouldn't collapse. And if the Allies didn't agree to that, the war would have continued. And again, they've already dropped both bombs. I believe there is a quote from the emperor to his uncle that his uncle had asked the emperor, like, will you surrender? And the emperor said, like, no, they have to agree with this. If they don't, we're not surrendering. And even when the decision was to surrender, there was an attempted coup from militarists who wanted to keep the war going. They refused to surrender. That is the enemy that they were dealing with. That was the radicalized imperial Japanese military. It was a crazy place. That's when you get to like the really rough parts about this. Because the bombs themselves essentially didn't convince Japan to surrender, it definitely opened the door to them more for surrendering, that maybe they weren't needed to be dropped. Because even when they were dropped, Japan still didn't want to surrender unless these allies were met. But then again, a land invasion of Japan was the next thing to happen. And if that were to happen, the war probably would have prolonged another year or two, maybe more. Who knows? Would Japan have surrendered if American troops were on their soil? Probably not. I mean, the island hopping campaign was insane, and like Japanese civilian, just like The propaganda going around in the Pacific theater, especially during that time, was crazy. And of course, on America's side, it was very racist in terms of like genocide and stuff. And on the Japanese side, it was really not that much better. Basically demonizing American troops and making them like the worst people imaginable. And yeah, it was pretty much the civilians got caught up in this propaganda. You know, instead of surrendering to American troops, they would jump off cliffs with their children. That is essentially what was going on. And to stop that, and to stop one of the bloodiest wars in history, the bombs needed to be dropped. And even then, they didn't want to surrender. So basically, the argument of Japan was about to surrender anyway. They were already beaten. We have no idea, because they didn't want to surrender even when they got bombed twice. So maybe the bombs weren't needed because they didn't want to surrender. I get that argument, but they wouldn't have surrendered regardless. They weren't going to surrender. That's the point. It's hard to simplify this, essentially. It's a insane conundrum, and I'm glad I will never, ever be in a position where I have to make that choice, because I don't think I could. And based on how Truman was in this movie, I don't know a lot about Truman. I know he came into office after Roosevelt passed away, and that he saw the end of World War II and he authorized the bombings. But based on this, like, I don't know what to think of him, and I don't know if I definitely wouldn't want any politicians to have a nuclear bomb. So it's a catch-22. I do believe that it was necessary to end the war. I do believe the bombs needed to be dropped. I do. This is complicated, okay? It's complicated because because of course I'd like to live in a world where the bombs were never even created and we didn't have to worry about that kind of thing. You know, weapons of mass destructions, nuclear bombs. The end of the world is literally sitting in bunkers somewhere. I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. And since we had it, we used it, and I think it was the right call in the long run, because there's also a thing about the atomic bomb essentially created a somewhat peace. It created a piece of world wars, at least. If you look at a lot of the conflicts, they've been fairly minor. A lot of, like, the superpowers conflict, not minor. If you look at a lot of the wars that came in the decades following World War II, a lot of them are proxy wars fought using the superpowers. I brought this up in the reaction, like America and the Soviets, pretty much choosing a side, giving them stuff, and making them fight. And being like, okay, who will win in this? Will communism win? Will capitalism win? Will we need to use the bombs? We have it right here just in case, but we'll see what happens. So in a way, the atomic bomb did allow a bigger peace, in a way that the fact that the fear of it kept the major superpowers from actually going into wars with each other, because they would have no other option but to use the nuclear deterrence if things got too bad. And that's where the concept of MAD, mutually assured destruction, comes from, because you can't nuke your enemy without expecting them to retaliate. So that fear kept everyone in line. So it created a sort of peace, at least for the superpowers, I guess. It is all incredibly, incredibly complex. And I'm glad I'm not a politician. And this movie made me hate politicians even more. It's not a black and white thing. It's a very gray. It's very gray. I understand Oppenheimer's perspective after, because they're scientists, and that's how scientists essentially are. When you have an idea, you have to create it. A lot of us out there, you know, like me, stupid, who come up with ideas and be like, oh, that'd be cool if I like wrote this story or made this book or wrote a screenplay. That's pretty much things that occupy my mind. I'm like, wow, that'd be cool. Yeah, I just don't have the drive or the know-how to essentially do it, but it's still in the mind, and it drives me crazy. So imagine how an actual genius, an intelligent scientist, has an idea for an invention or for this breakthrough in science. Imagine if they sat on it. They can't. That goes against who they are. They have to work on it. And that's essentially what it was, and that was it for Oppenheimer. He spent years on this because it's like, can it be done? Can we do this? We have to try. They did it, and it became a thing. And then as soon as they did, it was taken by the military, taken by the government, and used. And I can see that it's like a honeymoon phase wearing off of like, oh, this is my baby, this is my creation. Oh, it just killed hundreds of thousands of people. Overall, close to 250,000 people dead because of the thing you created. Like, yeah, that's gonna hit because it's different in theory than in practice. And like he said, he's a theorist. Theory will only take you so far. The practical is that, and it's a heavy thing to have on your shoulders. So it's all really rough. Okay, I should actually talk about the movie and not the actual real world stuff. Okay, so the movie actually, despite being 3 hours, it felt very fast. Like the way it was edited and the pacing, just like scene, everything was moving. Like it didn't feel like anything really dragged. Maybe there was like 1 or 2 scenes where there was probably information being said, but I just didn't get. But it felt like a very well made movie. I will admit that last like 40 minutes hit the brakes on it, and that felt a little weird. Like after the test, they sort of like, whoa, slow down. Now we have to build up this story of like the courtroom that's not really a courtroom story. So they had to build that slowly, and then it got to its crescendo, and I was cheering. I was super into it, but it coming from like the buildup of the nuclear bomb being tested to, you know, just this courtroom thing that they slowly are setting up. It pumped the brakes, and it was like, oh, okay. So this is the downer bit of the movie, and then it built up, and then it was great. So that there was that like 20-25 minute lull where I'm just like, okay, this is a tone shift we got to get used to. But other than that, I really liked it, and I didn't even hate that part. Tonally, that shift felt weird. Kitty, MVP, like I said, she's great. Good job. Also, there was one scene that I didn't comment on. I wanted to because I thought maybe they would go back to it, but they never did. Was the Jenna. Jean? Was it Jean or Jenna? Her drowning herself, taking pills and stuff like that. There was one shot where we saw somebody dunking her head and they had a glove on, you know? So I saw that and I was like, wait, are they implying that there was something else going on here? Or what did the glove represent? Like, because it could represent a lot of things. Like, yeah, maybe she was found and she was because, you know, potential communist spy or whatever. Or it's Oppenheimer viewing it as the fact that she did that because of him. Essentially him, like, drowning her. Maybe that was his hand that was gloved, that he was perceiving like, oh, I did this to her. I might as well have killed her. Or maybe it's just left ambiguous of maybe she did meet her end through nefarious means. Maybe it wasn't straightforward. Who knows? Maybe there is a theory about that out there. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. This might be my pick for the movie of the year so far. Something about it clicked with me after a while, and I just got so on board with it. I just love history. I'm a history buff. And speaking of history buff, I'm really looking forward to if History Buffs, the YouTube channel, ever does a video on Oppenheimer. I imagine they will be. It'll probably be like a year or two before they do it, but I'm looking forward to that because I want to learn all the history I didn't know. Those watching, you might agree with me. You might disagree with me on my takes on the Oppenheimer as a man, the Manhattan Project, the nuclear bombs, World War II, the dropping of the bombs, Nagasaki and Hiroshima, all of it. You might disagree with me on that. That is perfectly fine because I'm perfectly fine having conversations about this. Like, if somebody says, no, they shouldn't have dropped the bomb, then I wouldn't be like, oh, you're an idiot. You don't understand. Like, I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, okay, I can understand your perspective because it is muddied. It is muddled, and the world is full of shades of gray. But hey, you know, at least we learned our lesson, didn't we? As humanity itself, we learned the horrors of a great world war. And we strived to move forward as a race of humans to never let the horrors of that seep into the world again. Right? We agreed that we learned that lesson from World War II, that that's not the way we need to do things, that we can't let that evil spread. World War II was essentially a battle of good and evil. And yeah, there were good and evil on both sides in small portions or in larger portions. But we took our lessons from World War II, we moved forward to never repeat them again. Right? We definitely, as a species, wouldn't forget those lessons less than 80 years later and immediately start setting up for the next one, you know? We didn't forget those lessons that led us into that war. We didn't forget how we treated people that were different from us in that war, and we're definitely not repeating that literally at this very second that I'm recording this and that you're watching this. Oh, that's right. We did, and we're doing it. No matter what you think, no matter what your beliefs are, at the end of the day, we're all just a bunch of animals living on a giant rock, flying around a giant ball of fire in the middle of goddamn nowhere. Nothing we do matters. We're all gonna die one day, and you know what? We'll just never learn. Well, at least we got like a thought-provoking movie out of it, and I want to read up more on the Manhattan Project and a lot more of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and I encourage others to do as well, because, hey, we gotta learn, right? Otherwise, how else are we gonna better ourselves? Well, that was Oppenheimer. What did you guys think of it? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, what other movies or TV shows would you like me to react to in the future? Go check out my Patreon for early access, exclusive contents, polls, and full-length commentaries, and a way to support my channel, and I greatly appreciate it. But until next time, that's it. I did all this setup, and I didn't switch my fucking headphones, because of course I didn't. Because I am a big silly goose. Big silly goose. Big old silly goose.